It does feel
But-
strange.
Yeah. But yeah, I love you guys.
We love you too, Amy. We love you too. There has been an up and down. We've all had. I think me and Amy have definitely had the most up and down Hosie career. In terms of interactions with other people, it's definitely
Stop.
taking the brunt of it. I think. Oh my. Okay, wait. In the Hosie Talks tag, like maybe everyone put their either favorite Hosie moments or like their favorite Hosie fandom moments.
It's a great idea.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I love that everyone switched back to their old profiles. It was a really throwback. Sorry to the new Hosies that just decided to watch like a little gay show, binged it on Netflix, came onto Hosie Twitter end of 2020, and just didn't fell.
All of
We
the
all
moments
fell.
that I want to throw back to are like on the account that's gone now, so I can't. But I would say it's funny because some of my favorite moments were just about the times that other people got whacked.
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
like watching like 111 and 114 live when Hope threw Penelope across the room, and then when Penelope left, like those were great days.
Oh my God.
Watching
Oh my
112 live, watching the crush scene live, that was unforgettable. That is literally a once in a lifetime experience.
That was some euphoria.
And again, in 206 when we got the I miss you scene, and when we got in 205 Hope admitting that 204 admitting that 206 I keep speaking 206 Hope admitting that she had a crush on Josie. Like all of these moments
back to back
will never be forgotten. Hope in Josie in the ring, Joe, is that you? Like that was history.
Yeah.
That was history. Like these moments, we will carry these with us for the rest of our lives. Like that will never be forgotten. Like you had to be there.
Okay. For me and because I didn't join Hosie Twitter literally until the end of 2020. So I'm that person. Like I didn't get to experience. I watched season 1 live, but I watched it for Hope. And I mean, I liked Hosie, but I was like really on K-pop Twitter. And
yeah,
so
that's because you're crazy, Shelly, and none of us relate to you.
Yeah, sorry. Like I really, you guys don't even want to know the person that I am when it comes to that. Like you think I'm a psych ward patient now. Like I'm full on should be jailed. But my favorite Hosie moment to like witness and experience as like a viewer, I'm trying to think. Okay, the worst I've ever felt besides December 16th. Well, I'll go to my least favorite moment. The worst I've ever felt besides that awful date was
why are we going to the worst? But
because like I'm gonna do the worst and then I'm gonna like bring it to the best.
Okay. Roses and thorns.
Worst I've ever felt is 304. I've actually never experienced.
Oh God.
I was literally crying in my bedroom, crazy. Like that actually felt sick. Like my stomach dropped there.
Did you actually cry?
Yeah, I literally cried. Like tears of frustration because it was so fucking annoying. I was like,
yeah, no, because it was terrible for me.
And
301 was really fucking tough too. Like from a 2020 to 16 ending that way, right?
Yeah, the gap between non-consensual and 301 was crazy.
That massive summer filled with just insane people tweeting at corporations to fund Hosie, and them
all responding and being on board with it.
And they literally tagged, when they had Twitter, merchandise. Hey guys, you guys would look so good in some Cinna swag. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're a Cinnabon company tweeting a CW actress. Like, why did nobody talk about how fucking
that was so
insane
random.
that was? But anyways, and they followed a bunch of Hosies, and they just never speak to us again.
I remember Cinnabon followed me.
Yeah, if we wanna go around and everybody says their favorite Hosie memory, that would be
okay. Favorite Hosie. Okay, favorite Hosie fandom memory. A favorite Hosie fandom memory that I'll always hold deep in my heart. I love Damage Control Fridays. I loved 305 when we finally got those fucking therapy box stills, because that was the first time when like as a Hosie, like I truly got to theorize and I truly got to actually experience Hosie moments live. Like that was always when I got those stills, like that was fucking crazy. And I was on the subway and I was like, oh my god, my roommates were like, shut the fuck up. I love that. My favorite Hosie moment to watch. Okay.
What's your favorite teaser?
My favorite teaser. Come You have to know my favorite teaser. Like,
yeah.
come on. Our father is in a coma, and you're more concerned about the person who put him there?
That was crazy.
That one
I think that's
changed lives. That altered the brain chemistry in my mind.
That was fucking crazy.
Oh my god.
I really like Therapy Box because I just love theorizing about that, but I also really loved 311. One of my favorite like moments that I think I really like understood Hosie to the core is when Hope, like the look that Josie and Hope shared when Hope was on the ground, and you could just see the longing in Josie's face. That was fucking crazy to me. That was fucking crazy. And then watching, the string of like wins that we had in season 4 was also crazy.
That was like honestly like I think what hurt so badly about December 16th was like we couldn't see it coming because things had been going so well. Like right up until the moment that she got on that bus, things had literally never looked better for Hosie.
That's what I was gonna say earlier. I think it's one of the most like crazy karma that like the universe like delivering this karma of shutting down Hosie in December 16th, and then Julie Plec gets a phone call in January saying your phone is getting like unplugged. Like I think that's so fucking funny. So many things happened in January because if you remember towards the like maybe January 10th, maybe that week, first or second week, there was like a blast from K-Site that said Legacies return date moved a month, and you're like, whoa. And now we know why, because in January they got the call that the show was getting unplugged, or like it was in like dangerous gray area territory that they didn't know they were going to get renewed or not, but they all knew it was not coming back from its glory days. So I think that's one of the funniest fucking things. Ooh, the King James Bible space.
That was fucking funny.
That was a nice day.
I pray that Hosie gets apprehended by the love of Christ.
And did. And did.
That was so fucking, oh my god. I love the Hosie. Okay, Hosie Talks was also always so fun whenever we put those into practice sometime in season 3.
Yeah.
That was always so fun.
Yeah, I don't remember when actually. It might have been, I remember we did talk about it because we were discussing the theories related to the cult episode and the matchmaking thing, because Lizzie, for some reason, was given so many hints that she was going to set up Josie with someone, and we all thought it was going to be Hope. And then there was Rose. And I remember it was definitely 314-ish. I don't remember when Twitter Spaces like really talked.
Maybe because I remember we also talked about 311. I think it was around 311. I think maybe 310, 311.
Should I come back to Twitter?
Amy, let me tell you right now, there's no way you can come back on that account.
No, that account is gone. I mean on the account that I'm talking on right now.
No, this is the account that I mean.
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
Oh, whack. Oh my god, okay.
Back to Hosie.
I think a low-key underrated favorite moment of mine is when because I had like 20 followers for so long because I came into the Hosie game so late that I just like didn't have any followers. I didn't have any mutuals. Like my one mutual was my friend Ella, who like love her. And so I had like no followers, so I would literally fucking say whatever. Like I would say whatever, and I just didn't care because first of all, I like came from K-pop Twitter, so I just thought that you could say whatever the fuck you wanted and like everyone would just take it in stride. I really did. But apparently not. And so the whole fuck
apparently not.
The fucked in the head gate, that was actually fucking hilarious. Like looking back on it, like that is hilarious. And then also like the exposed thread that got run on me over the summer where it was like, she's ableist. And that was it. And I got one of the exposed things was like, yeah, she said that Hope's face went crazy. Like me like complimenting Hope. Like
I've definitely been featured in like really random
my favorite moment
Hosie accounts. Yeah,
I've been everywhere. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
my favorite moments probably the night that Hope threw Penelope across the room. Everybody made like remixes of it and like edits of it. That was pretty awesome. But the best nights probably has to be the crush scene and 207 I Miss You scene, just because that was like felt worldwide. Like everybody who didn't watch, all of my mutuals who were like not Legacies mutuals were like texting me and DMing me like, oh my god, is Hosie actually gonna happen? Is actually like I saw this happen like on my timeline or whatever, and I was like, yes. But like that was really like the impact that it had. Like so many people like started watching because of those moments, because they like heard about them, and it's just like it was just so vindicating, and it was just like such a time to be alive. Like I really wish you could have been part of that, because it was like it was just like being on top of the world.
Somebody noticing that the letter that Josie sent didn't get burned. Let me just die. Oh my god, the Hosie's Got Talent space was so funny. I remember. I don't know what the fuck I was doing that day. I remember every single like fucking time there was a new person, I would take out just an entire encyclopedia of like, oh, what's
Did you guys see what
Faces Got Talent?
Okay, pause, because we're pausing on the favorite moments because I just read something from the Brett Matthews interview. Okay, so he says about Handon. No, it's good.
Oh.
Those two characters, talking about Handon, those two characters are just inextricably linked in this universe in a way, and they obviously end the show on kind of a non-romantic front, but that is also the way of young love. How many people had their first girlfriend, boyfriend, and thought, wow, this is it when you're a kid? And the reality is you don't know how life is going to shake out. Like, yeah.
I mean, obviously they're done. Like,
yeah, like literally like Handons and Lost in a way that is so late. I'm just smiling. Like Hosie truly got an open-ended, like first of all, they both got feminist endgames, and their feminist endgames were literally connected to one another. Like that's what's crazy to me. It wasn't just feminist endgame. It was Hope and Josie are gonna stay in contact. Like bitch.
Yeah. And not only that, but like there's a certain group of people that I'm not gonna say their names, but they couldn't have lost any worse than they did. So it's always nice to see that.
I just shared to the Jumbotron Clar Hosie guys, because Jose Molina, he's the guy that like came into season 4 like with big ideas and big Clar like parallels. Like I think it's actually so fucking crazy that Hope gets a letter directly like I'm sorry, like every single other fucking crazy parallel we had to just say like through random exchanges that Josie was digging through her father's diary to discover this and this and this, and it's just like we on Twitter had to be like writing paragraphs to explain ourselves. And it was just single
in a way I am glad that they waited. In a way I am glad that they waited until the finale to have this, just because it's like, I feel like it adds like a sense of importance and like finality.
Yeah, and finality. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it makes it seem big.
Yeah, and I think ultimately Josie's story was literally the talisman. Like that was her last appearance, and it was her last exchange in the physical world without her on screen.
Sorry, I'm like tweeting right now. I'm saying something about how like Josie's story was always about her relationship to Hope and how that relationship impacted her. Like it's crazy because if you think about like Josie's evolution as a character and like every single like big thing that happened to Josie was tied to Hope. In season 1, Josie's entire storyline was about like being heard, and like speaking out and sort of like having her own agency. And who was like the catalyst to that? It was Hope. It was Hope saying like you should go for what you want in 103. It was Hope like trusting Josie with like literally like doing black magic with her in the first episode. It was Hope giving her the talisman. It was for like I think okay, what's crazy about 112, my favorite, that little crush confession was you had a crush on me. Of course I did. Who wouldn't? Because it shows that like Josie still thinks of Hope as this like sort of like ideal, like this ideal that everyone would love, because like that's just how Josie sees Hope, as like someone who's just really lovable. But okay, getting back to like Josie's story, it was always about being heard and speaking out. And even in 112, she was like speaking out about her own past and sort of like owning her past and owning what she had done. In season 2, like Josie's storyline was about like like it was more romantic focused and like more focused on like what she wanted in a partner. And I think like that was literally, that entire thing was tied into Hope. It's crazy that Alaric's like little last speech at the end of that season, being like, what you deserve is to never be given up on, like that literally describing Hope, or like literally describing Hope to the core. Season 3, it was literally like about Josie's magic and like I guess like her own. I still think that they fucked up like what Josie season 3 storyline should have been coming from season 2, but in season
Yeah.
3
Yeah,
her
also.
storyline but in season 3 her storyline was still like about like magic and trusting and like believing in herself again. And oh, again, like who was the catalyst to that? Hope. In season 4 it was very plain and simple. Like every single thing that Josie did in season 4, every single line of
That is
dialogue
true.
that he spoke that Josie spoke into the universe was about Hope.
Josie lived and died for Hope, and I respect that about her.
Cleo
And
literally
I'm the same.
saying to Finch, her love interest, her current girlfriend,
I
that,
suppose that
you know, yeah, go on.
extraordinary lengths for.
Like everyone, they basically got the like, oh yeah, everyone else can see it except you. Like what I said before, like Lizzie literally
Yup.
going to
Yup.
MG and like taking what she realized, that Hope has someone that loves her. They're just like in her mind, like, oh, they're gonna find each other in 5 to 10 years. I know it. But until then, I'm
Five
gonna
to
go
10
take what I
years.
learned and go to MG.
Fuck 5 to 10 years. They're gonna find each other in 5 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, like five
I
to
don't
10
know.
days. Like
Hosie open
5 to
ending. You
10
know what I mean?
hours.
Hours.
5 to 10
However long it
hours.
takes. However
However
long
long
it
it takes to
takes.
fly to Belgium.
Oh
Not
my
lie,
God.
because Hope can magic herself there, right? Most powerful being in the
Right.
universe. Like, let's get on that.
Right.
Let's get on some
Astral
teleportation.
project.
Nah, imagine she
She can.
runs.
Yeah.
Oh my god, another favorite Hosey moment. 311, because I do. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
That
Yeah.
was
Look, it
crazy.
was so good to have that because season
Now you're
3,
starting
it
to
was
get
hard
it.
for us, Hosies. It was hard for us. And so it felt really good to have an episode that was all about us. It had been a while.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
and
had been
I
a
don't
while.
believe Lizzie was in the episode because or she wasn't involved in the school. I mean, she was with Finch maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But like they were leading up to the part where Lizzie literally wasn't at the school, and they kept waiting until like Hope and Josie had to go on a road trip. Now, if I was writing 314, and mind you, 314 to 316 was a beautiful string of episodes that definitely were really nice to go into each other really well, seamlessly. And I would have preferred to have more road trip scenes isolated with Hope and Josie than just the single
Agreed.
gas
Yeah,
station.
they should have showed their drive there.
Yeah, like the funny dynamic that you would have when Josie's driving the car and Hope's just like impatient, like she just got dumped and she's expressing herself like this is so fucking like unfair, and then Josie's just like and then like at the end of the episode where Josie's like, you and I both know that you two are doomed. You guys had sex and you melted him with your coochie. So I really don't think that you two are endgame. And Hope just taking it, and it breaks the spell that's cast over her. Like hello?
I think that is like a real problem with Legacies that the Vampire
Yeah.
Diaries didn't have, is that the
Yeah.
Vampire Diaries wasn't scared to linger on moments and linger on like
Yeah.
traditional like sort of like drives to places. Like they
Breathing
let
moments.
It was
storylines,
better for a lot of reasons.
like
Yeah.
a lot of reasons, but they let storylines like take place over a lot of episodes. Like the issue
Yeah,
with
they didn't have to wrap
Legacies
everything up
is that
right
it
away.
was so week to week. Like in 314 they were like, okay, Hope and Josie have a road trip, bam, they're at this cult, bam, like it's literally just like isolated like moments and isolated episodes, whereas the Vampire Diaries in the originals, it was always like episode arcs would take episodes, you know what
They
I mean?
would
And like
wear
the
the
and
same
Vampire
clothes and
Diaries,
stay the
there are a
night.
million things about that. Like, if they were real, like, I would have done almost everything about Legacies differently. Not everything, but like, I would have done most of Legacies differently. And one thing I would have done differently is, you bet your ass I would have milked that road trip for all it was worth.
Yeah, I would definitely have made it
they
like
would have
4
got
or
that
5
motel scene.
episodes.
They would have gotten that motel scene whether they wanted it or not.
Oh yeah. I would have locked them in that motel.
And there would have been one bed, whether or not they paid for 2.
One twin-sized bed. One twin-sized bed, actually.
I really wanted
one
that
twin-sized bed and one blanket
and 14 through 16 to have been like the Mummy episode, except, you know, extended for over a period of time, where they literally find themselves in a different town and they're just like, well, we just got to deal with this because we don't know what's in this town. Let's go exploring. And it's like the Mummy episode takes over most of the episode, and then it leads into like the next episode, because it turns out while they were doing this on spring break, go back to when the boys were doing that. And I just felt like a lot of Legacies definitely should have had more breathing moments, and that road trip 100%. But I really wanted them to like land in a town and do things that aren't necessarily related to the bigger plot of the entire season, but you learn things about them, and you learn like, I don't know, like there's more.
Yeah, they were so focused. The problem
silence.
with Legacies, or one of the many problems with Legacies, and this was stated, Brett was talking about how Legacies was more actiony than the Vampire Diaries, and that's true in a way. That's true, but not in a good way, because it had so much more action, but the action was meaningless. Whereas the other shows spent a lot more time fleshing out the nuances between those characters' relationships, and just like
so
developing those relationships and developing those characters, and just taking time to let the stories play out with meaning rather than just happening one-two punch, having things happen one after the other. And Legacies really shined when it got the chance to dive into those relationships and dive into those nuances, and it failed when it spent too much time worrying about these big epic showdowns. Like 304 was the worst finale ever because it was just a bunch of shit happening one after the other, and none of it had any emotional payoff whatsoever.
Yeah.
When you think about an episode like an episode with no Hosie in it, so I'm not biased, the boy who had a lot of good to do, that episode had emotional payoff. Even though I didn't care about Landon, I cried seeing him dead, because they worked on making it mean something to the other characters, to MG, to Caleb, to Raphael, to Hope. And it meant something, and so it came across with emotion. And they gave up most of the time on some point at having things have meaning. And that's why the show failed, because they were so worried about having explosions and punches and kicks that they forgot that these characters are supposed to be human underneath all of their powers. They're supposed to care about things. And they're supposed to feel things.
I think
and we can't feel things if they don't.
I think it's so strange that Brett prides himself on the fact that he believes that what you just described is a positive thing for Legacies. I think, and all around, that's such a horrible flaw in writing in general. Why would you do that to any piece of writing and think that the fans are going to love it? I think Legacies in his head actually works phenomenally better as a graphic novel series, not a television series. I think as a graphic novel, it works because you have an ensemble already established for you, and you throw them around different events, and it just happens, and it's a single book. I'm sorry, I don't really know the different ways comic books are chopped up on the storyboard, but I do think Brett thought about this Legacy story in a way that's like, okay, we're going to have a leprechaun that's based off of this slasher movie in the 90s, and people are totally going to get it. Totally. We're going to have these little purple furries, and it's going to be a reference to this. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so hilarious and comical. We'll throw green slime on the characters. We'll have them do a talent show, but all of them are acting out of their minds because of these slugs. Like, we'll just do things to do things. And they prioritized having a dart wheel or a chore wheel, and they spun it to see, okay, guys, what monster are we going to do today? Oh, we haven't done a Wendigo. Let's throw that in there. And then just like do nonsensical things. And you're just like, wait, we don't know how to get to A to Z. Let's introduce these random fucking characters that don't actually like make sense to go anywhere. They just happen to be a god, and you're just like, what the fuck? Where did these gods come from? And it's like, I think another Screen Rant article said, like, it makes no fucking sense why they're so puzzled by the existence of gods, because literally in season 1 you have the arachnid and the spider and MG saying all of these things. In season 2 you have the Cupid, which is actually like another Cupid, and you're like, wait, so this opens up the possibility of a family of gods. And then they slept on it. And then season 4 is suddenly a pantheon of these Greek gods that aren't actually really like going to their true traits in real life, and you're just like, okay, they're just doing things. Yeah, that's my long ass rant.
Yeah, back to Hosie, back to our favorite memories, because this is a big night.
Yeah, okay.
Favorite
Hosie great hits.
I started Hosie. I started Hosie Twitter and shit. I literally how you described the emotional moment of 111. I literally live tweeted when MG was a vampire and Landon was dying. That was my first step in here, but I didn't really like get into anything until actually Dark Josie, and like I got it more followers, and I was like, oh, more than 50 people are listening to my insanity. All right, and Dark Josie.
Y'all might not. I was a Hosie when there were 3 Hosies. I was there, so I can. Yeah. This is a big. This is what I'm saying is this is a very. This is the end of an era for me.
Yeah, this is the end of the TVDU.
For all of us.
Yeah.
For those of us who met Hosie yesterday, for those of us who met it in 2018, we will. This is the day.
For those that will watch the 32-minute 15-second Hosie, their story, 101 to 216 episode. Welcome home.
You guys don't even know how fucking badly I abused that fucking edit when I was just getting into host. It was every night. My roommates were sick of it because I'd put it on our TV. I'd literally be like Michelle, like, do you want to like watch anything else? I'd be like, I'm literally busy, like, guys, like I'm watching something, and they'd be like, oh, like what are you watching? I'd be like stuff, like I'm watching stuff, and they'd be like, oh, fuck you, and they'd go in their room. Like it's very that edit's really sustained me. That edit really, really sustained me.
Yeah, guys, we can have a 2018 to 2022 edit now. We can finally say Hosie made it to 2022. I didn't think that was possible. I thought we were ended right there. Only a mere 15-ish days until the new year. Oh God. Yeah, I have a 90% done edit that I just need to throw in these new Hosie scenes and call it a day. And it's literally called like The Life of Hosie, and it's 2018. When I tell you,
like, I don't know if I can watch that. I like try to watch Hosie scenes in full. Like I can barely watch edits. Like there are still some edits like I avoid like nothing else. Like I still cannot watch the Luma's Daylight edit. Like I literally like I physically cannot watch that edit. Like I haven't listened to the song Daylight since December 16th. That's one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. And I have literally not listened to it because it reminds me too much of Hosie. Like, I'm trying to think, As the World Caves In, I can't fucking watch that edit.
There are so many songs I can't listen to.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. There's so many good moments.
But they're mine again now. Now that it's all over, I can listen to them again, I think.
Yeah, now there's actually like Daylight actually has such a positive connotation because it's like literally Hope and Josie are gonna teach each other how to like love. Like, I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Like, I can't believe they had their feminist on. They literally could have said that Finch was going to call Josie. They didn't. They just had Josie completely fucking ghost her. I was not expecting that, if I'm going to be honest. I was expecting a really cheap cop out. That Finch was like, oh, she sent me flowers. Like, oh, she sent Hope a fucking towel. Oh my God. Can you imagine Finch going up to Hope a second time and being like, did you get anything? Absolutely a maniac.
I'm gonna tap out. I'm gonna get something to eat. I love you guys. Okay. Come back.
We love you, Amy.
Something, but if not, I love you more than anything. Hosie forever. Hosie endgame. Hosie forever and always.
No, like literally Hosie forever and always. Like
literally forever and always. Hashtag Hosie endgame. Hashtag Hosie forever.
It's crazy because I know right now, like, Handens and his are, like, literally crying, and we're just having a party.
Their pants, yeah. I love you guys. I love Hosie. I love God. And this has been Vision Girl. Love you. I'm out.
We love you, Amy. Bye-bye. Oh my God. Okay, wait. Let's go through, like, favorite Hosie quotes. Like, what Hosie quote do you find yourself quoting so much? Because this isn't even my favorite Hosie quote, but literally in my head, there's so many times where I'm like, I know that you think that she's weak, but I know the truth. She's strong. You're strong. No one can shoulder the burdens that you carry, and you are always there for your friends when they need you. So please, Joe, we really need you right now. Like, I literally, like, that one is always so crazy to me. I literally think about that one all the time. I think about the 308 gaslighting speech. all the time. Like, then I'll be right by your side. Like, that was fucking crazy. I think of Because I Do so often. I think underrated Hosie moment that I think because so much Hosie shit has happened that like we low-key like sort of skipped over it. Like, not skipped over it when it happened, but like we don't really talk about it as much
Oh,
anymore.
I know.
In
I know an
314,
example.
in 314 when Hope went to grab Josie's arm and Josie didn't flinch at all. That was crazy. That was
Telling.
crazy.
A
Like
big
that.
underrated Hosie moment for me, if you go back to season 1, is episode 5, Malivore, titled Malivore, when they vote Landon out. Besides the fact that they voted Landon out, I think it's so interesting that Josie thinks so highly of Hope in her opinion that she's like really sitting there and not mediating, but just sort of like thinking about each and every one's perspective, and she specifically thinks about Hope's decision and her choice to vote him out. And she's like, yeah, we have to vote him out. He's a danger. Hope's right. It may not be the nicest thing, and I'm crushing on you, Raphael, his brother, and I want to give you like points, or I want to earn points from you, if that makes sense, and get in good with you for saving your brother because I'm interested in you. But she put that aside because she listened to Hope more, and it was like,
Literally.
you know what, she's onto something. Landon is a danger. I think that's so funny. And also what you were saying before, like how in season 2, Landon suddenly, Hope, like it pissed off Hope for some reason that she'll never speak aloud, but we all know why. Whenever she saw Landon, she just got like there was a visceral reaction wash over her face. Like she just got so annoyed suddenly that he had like these stupid clothes. He was wearing these
It
stupid
was
clothes. And he
like,
had like really gelled hair. She suddenly like, why did I like? He's
what
pathetic.
was
Like
that?
Josie,
The
like
quote,
fuck
it was
you.
like, because that's useless, Landon, just like you. I was
Uh yeah,
like,
no, like let's talk about like everyone says like, oh, it started in 214, the film noir episode where she's getting hinted to like dump it. We're like, no, actually, it was the episode with that monster over her shoulder, literally telling her, you can drop the dead weight. Like you're better off dropping the dead weight because you don't like stressing over saving him because then it puts all this pressure. Like if you really think about it, that single episode, not much had changed. Like she took like maybe 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, and she got to the same place where everyone was telling her like, you have to give up the dead weight because you are so stressed about your environment and saving the greater humanity, and now you're just throwing that all away to save one person. It's like the most like whatever. And you have like the therapy box in Josie's where she realizes that she is under a lot of fucking pressure. So that was like Josie's story being triggered, or Hope being her catalyst is again like just another thing like lost our minds over. And we really got so much insight from Hosie Khan too on how both
Cozy
Kaylee and
Con was
Danielle,
crazy. Cozy
one of
Con
my
was
favorite
crazy.
one of my favorite parts of Hosie Khan was the fact that everyone asked the same question to Danielle and then asked the same question to Kaylee, reoriented in the way that's respective to their characters. And you're like, oh my God, Josie's like Kaylee is acting like Josie in the way that she believes that Hope is not interested in her, but she's hopelessly devoted to her. And Danielle is
Messy
acting like
devoted.
Hope, that Josie is so enamored with Finch and she just like thinks of her as like a friend. It's like, best friend things. And it's like neither of them communicated, but they gave such form fitting answers. You're just like, Hosie, like Hosie.
I have to, okay, going back to my favorite Hosie moments because Georgia just reminded me of my all-time favorite Hosie moment because I have been talking about season 2 as much. All-time favorite Hosie moment, 213. I had to make a choice and I didn't choose Landon. That entire
Oh.
scene, my favorite Hosie moment of all time isn't that. It's when you see Josie come out of the prison world and Josie turn around and you just
Yeah.
see Hope's face light up.
Oh
Like
my
Hope
God.
was so concerned until she saw Josie and then she like ran into her arms. Like that was absolutely my favorite Hosie moment because I love Hope Mighelson. Like Hope Mighelson's one of my favorite characters of all time, no matter how much like Brett Matthews nerfed her. And I think that that was one of the moments where you could see how much Hope loves Josie. Like that was one of the moments where you could just see that like the devotion that like, to use your word, Rian, the words of many good Hosie edits. You could just see that like the devotion that Josie has to Hope, like Hope reciprocates that.
I
That
love
is
that so much.
reciprocated.
And everything having to do with how much, like, you know how like Danielle said, like Hope, like her love language is action, and like she spends time with people, and the fact that she spent so much time, whenever she was spending time with Josie, it was helping each other, or just like a therapy, like a therapeutic, cathartic, like let's talk about ourselves. Oh, da da da. You know, obviously it weaned off towards season 3 and 4 because they hate us, but we instead got independent scenes of Josie just going fucking psycho for Hope, and that's also like we say that over and over and over, but that's honestly one of the most, like, that I could never move on from Hosie just from that
That
soul
was really
thing. Like
rewarding.
for
Yeah.
16 episodes, you were led to believe that Josie is just like sleeping with Finch and she's completely happy about that. And then you get random episodes like 311 where she's just hopelessly devoted to Hope. And you're like, that's a little odd, because I do, like, why do you care and shit like that? And then she sleeps with Finch in the
Wait, I'm sorry.
season
Is Penny
finale.
here?
Yeah. What?
Jackie on the Barbie? Sorry, it's my friend.
Wait, what did you say?
My friend Ken is in here. Sorry, it's my K-pop friend. Keep going, Ree.
Okay, as I was saying, I think it's so fucking funny that essentially Josie and Finch's last, like, good scene where they were completely involved with one another was their intimate scene when I think Midnight Lover played by Girl in Red, and it was just like, oh, fireworks are exploding, okay. And then, like, in the timeline of this story, 5 minutes later, like, she wakes up, and I tweeted this for her, damn, we just fucked, and she rolled over and started reading a grimoire, How to Save Hope. Like, I think that's just one of the funniest actions that Josie has ever done for me, which is why no other character so devoted to another could ever top it for me than Josie being so supposedly in love with Finch and then switching an entire gear and just laying her life down and just put, like, oh, she killed my sister, oh, she killed my dad, but she's still redeemable, guys. Like, there was
Yeah,
a crazy
like guys,
red
like you don't
vein
understand her. Like
popping.
I understand her. You don't get it. And I think what's also
I
crazy
know
is
her
didn't
heart.
Danielle say like didn't Danielle like literally she knows her heart, but Danielle literally said like, oh, Hope won't hurt the people that she loves, and the only person that Hope has never hurt in the show's history
Ugh,
is Josie. Like she hurt her as Dark Josie, but the second that she was actually Josie, she refused to like hurt her anymore. Whereas like
yeah.
she hurt Landon many a time. She quite literally killed Lizzie. She
And
like
not even
beat a water to a
physically,
pulp.
right? And not even physically, because emotionally, she would, like, when Shia was pissed at Landon, she gave him the cold shoulder. When Josie was pissed at Hope, what the fuck did Hope do? Let's take a
Well, because like
walk
it's
back to
literally all
season
my
two.
fault. Like my perfect
Ah,
Nyanyo. I'm so sorry. Like Josie, no, like it's
she
literally
literally
on me.
was
Like Josie, like
Lizzie literally found her in the kitchen baking something to give to Josie. That was the scene that was cut, by the way. Like, if you remember, there was a scene in 209 where it's like Hope is in the kitchen and it's like opposite Lizzie, and everyone, all the hizzies are like, let's drop the hizzies. I'm like, you realize it's Hope baking something to give to Josie, and Lizzie tells her where to find her and tells her about the Moore Museum, right? Right. And yeah, that's I think that's like the most, like, nothing can top the way Hosey acts to one another, especially in select episodes. Like, it was really fucking annoying for the majority of 4B, where it's like, are they fucking gaslighting us? Like, I feel crazy because they just told us Josie is doing all of these actions for Hope. We're getting all of these, like, obvious parallels when Josie mentioned the letter and she's just gone. And then every single time
right.
Lizzie was like, she's finding herself, and like, so like toss away lines, and it just was
Like
so
bitch, the North
frustrating.
remembers. The North remembers. I remember 408. I remember 409. 408, that was fucking crazy too. Like the entire like Josie's therapy box was literally like a Grey's Anatomy fantasy centered around Hope. Please be serious, Josie. Please be serious. That was fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
And maybe I'll I'll try and spin this as Hosie, but the fact that the more and more like really lame one-liners that they gave Danielle to say about Hope, speaking about Josie, it was really lame. It was like, oh, you mean Josie going to find yourself when she had no humanity?
And
Oh,
it
and then
was
when she
obvious
did
that
have
like
humanity, it
Hope
was
was
like
very
her
bitter.
energy was so depleted. Right. I was
Hope
about to
was
say, like, she
very
sounded
bitter.
so bitter. And in my mind, it's because there was a plan. And that plan was that she felt like Josie abandoned her. And then you have in a little letter with cursive handwriting by Josette Saltzman saying outright, hey, I followed your family across transatlantic ocean, found this spell, sent a FedEx to your family, did all of these things. Like, there were so many tweets like Josie needs to stand up and take credit for what she did because I cannot have her die such a selfless like martyr. No, she needs to be selfish. Like, love is the most selfish thing, and she took it, guys. She took
Yeah.
it.
Okay, I'm gonna go through the tag. I'm gonna go through the tag and say other people's favorite moments so that I stop ignoring the tag. Okay. One of my favorite moments was when Josie wanted to fix up Hope's room because she knew how Hope felt after coming back from Oliver. That was cute because it showed how much Josie understands Hope more than anyone in this world because Josie knows that like Hope thinks of the Salvatore school as her home, and Josie wanted to make that home for her again. And it's crazy because Hope was so afraid of having to leave, only for Josie to say, I want you to stay, and then show that she wanted her to stay.
Do you know, like, the fucking song that played? I don't remember the exact lyrics. It was like, you can say you love me, but words aren't enough. Oh, I already knew the lyrics. A little crazy. Oh my,
That's me. Oh, I can't recall the Hosie quote. Actually, in 408, like minute 32, second 57.
But seriously though, like the song choices are so funny because you can tell in all of season 4, they kind of just threw epic songs to throw epic songs,
Yeah,
but
they were
a
like, we got to use
lot
this
of
budget in one way or
right.
another because Lord knows
Oh,
we're not paying our actors more.
right, because I know they don't. I really don't believe they partition a lot of money to the music department because it's just like, well, they're the last minute thing, right? And they search King Princess, they search Girl in Red for Finch and Josie scenes. You're like, okay. And then Hope and Josie have songs that are literally matching the scenes, the
I need
emotions.
somebody here, some
Oh my
bad. Like I
God.
literally cannot. I
Some
was getting
like there were
practice.
so many people that day. I do remember actually there was a lot of people like back and forth with the like multi shippers and multi fandom saying like, no guys, it's someone you loved because this way, and it's like, no, someone you love because that way. It's like this is
Like
the
no, it's
same,
a
like
romantic
looking
song. Like what?
right, like 3 years or 2 years later, you look at it and you're like, guys, the entire episode from front to back had Josie singing a ditty saying, I had a crush on
Not
you.
how will the lips
There we go. And then like following that up with Josie like really acting antsy because she knows she's the reason why Lizzie's like, I don't
She
know,
was literally
bashing
thinking
Hope.
the whole episode. She was like, "Fuck, fuck, fuck." She did
Right,
not
like
want that to come out.
she threw her arm at a bug to get bitten and say, guys, pay attention to my big, like swelling s'more size of a bite here. I'm literally like bloating, guys. And then she's like, please don't speak about the fact that fire dorm happened. And
She was like,
then like
"Whoa."
the episode ending with that and
The
wow.
smirk. And then unrelated, but in that episode, one of the funniest, one of the only legacy scenes that provides me genuine comfort is the whole fucking road trip scene of them in the car. I still think that that's some of the funniest legacy shit of
Oh
all
my
time. Like that
god.
was genuinely funny to me.
Dun
But okay.
dun dun. Da-da-dun, dun, dun.
And then okay, you both look so happy and I was so jealous. Will forever be
Oh
my
my
like my
god.
favorite. Like 'cause that was crazy because like
Because that goes
Hope
to
was
so
jealous of
many season 2
Landon.
scenes.
Hope was jealous of Landon, not of Josie. Like that is what's crazy. And then
Yeah, like you
underrated
said,
moment
like
when
Landon was
Josie.
switched to the pivot of the center triangle.
No, exactly. Like Josie was always the pinnacle. And then someone said underrated moment when Josie went to throw a fireball at Hope in season 1, episode 11, and she literally stood there ready to take it.
She literally frowned too. I remember the exact scene. Like she frowned and she was like, "Oh, I don't want to fight you." She just takes it and but you know what she did with Penelope? Just in the beginning of the episode, she was like,
Whack.
"I'll help you smite the bitch." And then at the end of the episode, she wastes no time
I fucking hated
throwing at her like,
Penelope down.
"Yes." Like
Okay, okay, let's see. Oh,
yes.
Astronomical, that was a crazy song.
That's
Blackout,
a crazy song.
like that was
And it's
fucking
so weird too,
ridiculous.
because you never really heard those kinds of songs, and then here they are pulling up Astronomical, Circina, and it's like this really like high and the lyrics being like we're always in our each other's gravitational pull, like they can be on opposite ends of the world just like they are presently, but they will always have that connection, which is why, okay, little sidetrack. I think one of the funniest things is, and I pointed this out to other people, like all of 4B, yeah, Josie wasn't in it. Okay, moving on. I think it's so funny that every single line that Lizzie said to Hope in some way related was like, yeah, like, oh, you did all these things, but we are still like friends. We will always be by each other's side. And Hope stood there. Hope
Yes, said
stood
nothing.
there. She
Hope
was
was like,
like,
sure, bitch, if that's what
mm-hmm.
you think. Like, damn.
Yeah, she was like,
Meanwhile,
okay.
meanwhile, like Josie's little speeches to Hope would literally make Hope cry. Hope was shedding tears over what Josie was
Like
like.
every single like Josie like Hope's love language is not these actions. Like I guess some people said like no, this doesn't make sense. Lizzie's storyline should have gone to Josie. In some ways, yes, but draw the line at specific moments where Josie would proclaim things like that because it spoke more when Josie did these actions. The how we
Exactly.
learned
Josie
in
would
the
never.
letter.
It's like when you have to continually tell the audience these two people are friends, these two people are friends, these two people are friends. Like it just
Yeah.
shows that they don't
Yeah.
have the chemistry to actually show that in the scenes. But okay,
Yeah.
then someone said,
Which is
I
like
think
why they had to keep adding, like when Lizzie was like, "You and I hope you don't break the sire bond because I still want to feel connected to you." And Hope's like, "Okay." And then Josie wrote a fucking letter, wordless letter that says all of these things, and suddenly Hope is like head over heels and sending her
like
weapon to
Hope
her.
before like Josie fucking like did anything, she was like we like it was so crazy. Hope was like just like fucking and then Josie was like, no Hope, like this is how you can save the school, and Hope was like, okay, Queen, like okay.
My girl is mad at me. I hope I die. It was like
Yeah,
every
literally.
single action Hope did. She was so miserable and bitter whenever Josie's name was announced. And then she reads that letter and her mind just explodes because she's like, wait, so wait, and then she like rethinks the last like 3 weeks of her life and every single
Literally.
action. I expect like her feminist ending. Okay, obviously we had no idea like if season 5 was going to happen. They genuinely had no way to continue it. I think like
Mhm.
it's so strange because it's like I actually prefer this ending like this because can you
I think
imagine like
If Legacies had a season 5, they would have had to do a time jump. I think that that's
I
just
think
like
Danielle wouldn't have stayed onto season 5 if I'm going to be honest. I don't think so. It's so I think they would have centered more maybe on Cleo. I think I
mhm.
think they would drop the limbo thing. I think they would have leaned into Jed. I think we haven't said a single word about them
I don't care.
at
Like that's
all.
the thing. Like I don't care about checkmark representation. Like they had a love confession and all this shit in the span of 10
Which is
episodes. I'm
like what we
sorry.
were saying, right? I have so many thoughts. Like, I don't know
They'll
how
never
to
find them
exactly express them because
compelling.
it's only 11:30. It's only 11:30, and I've not fully like slept on this, but I don't fully I just don't like how they reset Jed because to me as an Asian American character, and again this is like checkboxing representation da da
Mhm.
da da da, to me I'm speaking very serious. By the way, I'm Asian, so don't fucking come at me. I do not think Jed was an Asian character. He was through and through written by a white man and just had all of these actions, and none of his experiences lined up with the Asian American experience. And to me, I think they could have like intermingled that his werewolf heritage and theme into like the Asian experience, if that makes sense, in a way
That
that's
makes
like
sense.
you can't throw out like every everyone that has experienced the immigrant experience knows what I'm talking about, where it's like you can't just leave behind your culture and go
Yeah.
off into the sunset in America. That's not how it works for people
I
like us,
definitely
guys.
think like
Like
that was one of Legacy's also like again failings because it like showed it advertised itself as such a progressive and diverse show, but at the end of the day, like none of the characters existed within their cultural context, and that's like
yeah.
really important. Except Cleo, like
Yeah, I
Cleo's
think
like
Cleo,
backstory and all that stuff.
I
Like
think that's when they started to like be like, hey guys, and also they did spend a lot of time on hairstyles. I mean, we're talking about the black actors' hairstyles. We're not speaking about what they did with Lizzie. I don't know what the fuck happened, like the eyebrows.
no, like
Let's just
Lizzie's
say like
wig, but
the
it
show
seemed
is
like
over.
they
But
were focusing heavily on Cleo's character, and they were actually like attempting like something. They were
yeah.
attempting something there.
Yeah, yeah. I would say, like looking at the behind the scenes from Jeremy, I think his name is the makeup or hair makeup. He's from hair makeup. He posted the behind the scenes of Danielle, Amino, and Kaylee so far, and it is really cool to see how dedicated they were. Like every single day, we're gonna have a unique style, unlike Hope, which is like it's so odd to me that they didn't decide that that was like a big factor on a character at the the base, at the ground level,
Mhm.
having a character have a different look or the way they hold themselves every day. Like yeah, sure, Hope is a learner. Okay, I can imagine she maybe has like three rotating hairstyles. And but season 1 and 2, like what was up with those clothes?
That was fucking
um
awful. Okay, but I'm recentering Hosie. I'm recentering
okay,
Hosie.
yeah.
We're celebrating Hosie. Okay. I think one of my this is again in the tag. I think one of my favorite Hosie scenes that hasn't been mentioned yet was Josie's breakup speech to Finch in 403 when she was saying what she deserves and she literally
Oh
described
my
Hope word
God.
for word. That actually was
Oh, and
crazy.
like that was like literally playback. It's literally the same episode where she's observing Freya coming in to like comfort her, and she's just so proud of the Michelsons. She respects them so much. Josie
Josie
in the
wants to be a Michelson bad.
Josie in
Josie
the
wants to
fourth
be a
grade was
Michelson
literally
bad.
cursive doodling her name, Josette Saltzman Michelson, to see how it would like look on paper, the marriage certificate. That's how fucking crazy Josie was. Anyways, I think it's so funny that what fuck? I just forgot what I was going to say.
The way
Oh
that
yeah,
that
Freya.
entire the way that entire conversation started as well was crazy too because it was Finch asking about Hope, and so like literally Hope was obviously on Josie's mind. Like the entire conversation was framed around Hope, which is like
Right,
my
like
favorite
it's
thing.
so weird because it shouldn't have been like she's going in there to talk about their relationship, and suddenly she's like, you know what, Finch? You know what I deserve? You know what I deserve?
I
People
deserve Hope.
like the
I
people
deserve
that have like the people surrounding Hope, they love her, they defend her, they protect her. I want that kind of love, and I'm not
She's
getting it from
literally
you. And
like,
she walks
Finch, why
away
can't
and
you be
leaves Finch
Hope?
crying.
Like Finch, why can't you be
Why can't
that
you
is the
act more
entire
like a
scene.
Michelson?
Finch, why can't you be Hope like Finch? Okay.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
someone said the sex dream line was underrated. We don't talk about it enough. I agree. We don't
Oh,
talk
that was
about that one
crazy.
enough.
Because
That was fucking
that
crazy.
like on the surface level, it was like that's so funny because at the same time she was dreaming about Jade, and then here like you have like back to back like implications that Lizzie like knows, like Lizzie knows, like she was hugging a lark in 213 when everyone returned, and there's Hope looking around like who are you, who are you, where's Josie, where's Josie, have you seen a 5'8" brunette, straight pin hair, maybe in a coat. Like, have you seen her?
Oh my god, Josie could
And she did
fuck
not give a
up
fuck.
a coat. Josie could fuck
Oh my god.
up a coat. Oh my god, Josie's fucking best looks. That fucking coat in 308, like that was fucking awesome.
I think
But oh my god, okay.
someone pointed out that might have been Stefan's coat, which I think is really cool. If it is his, because she had to take the clothes from around the
Yeah.
building when it was the Salvatore school. Yeah, Hosie, wow. The fucking 213 moment.
Someone said it's small, but that last scene in 103 where Josie turns around and Hope's staring at her from across the room, smiling softly.
That's so weird.
Like she so desperately wanted Josie to be her friend. That's one of my top Hosie moments. I agree. That was crazy too because that just showed their dynamic perfectly. Again, because okay, Hope always longed to be Josie's friend, and it was really that's really clear in 1A. It's really clear with that scene, and it's also clear with like Hope searching out Josie to do these spells. Like Hope always had Josie on her mind, and what like really is like beautiful to me, and I was talking about this before, is that Josie also always had Hope on her mind. Like, and it's crazy because they were both so scared and nervous of interacting with each other that they never like got to form that like romantic connection that could have been formed, or that platonic-ish connection that could have been formed. And it's like, I don't know. That's crazy. Because also, like Hope's story was centered around Josie so heavily in 1A2, and I just like hate. I wish that Landon never got introduced. Like for a show that was supposed to be about friendship, they introduced the like Hope's love interest so quickly, and it just like sucks. Like my God, like why couldn't you just hold off on that? Like you don't even have to make Hosie happen in the first season. You don't even have to make Hosie happen in the second season. Like you can make it a third season, fourth season thing. But in a show that was like meant to be about friendship, like you did a fast burn ship and then you stayed with it for 4 seasons. And it's also, I feel bad for Danielle because she wanted to explore Hope's sexuality so bad.
Oh my god.
And like no offense, but I like don't want Hope to like kiss a girl that isn't Josie. Like, sorry.
I can totally get in the very beginning where it would make sense for them to like both like go on different paths, but they're always thinking of the other. That would have made sense to me. But it just came to a point where they needed to be in the same room, and those were the two. Hope and Josie were the ones that they had first relationship with. Hope had her first relationship that's not Landon. Like it just had to be her. There was no other person in that picture. Fuck Maya. Fuck. Oh wait,
no,
she
literally.
had no
Oh my
she
god,
had nobody else.
Maya pissed me the fuck off. You guys had 2 scenes, and they're literally like they will fucking make tweets up and down the timeline about how that was one of the best ships in the show. Please, please be serious.
Oh, I have
Please
no
be
doubt, by
serious.
the way, in season 5 that they would have brought Maya back just to give Finch someone to talk to. I have no doubt because they just killed Ethan. So now let's bring in Bianca. Wow. Anyways,
And then
to
okay,
add
let's
to
see.
the 103
Someone
context we were
else
just
says.
quoting, someone replied to Ava. Let me wait. I was just looking at it. No, where did it go? The subtext of this scene is insane. 103. Josie not ready to open up to Hope, so in turn, Hope turns to Landon, the person that will be with her until Josie is ready. Let's say more about this, because do you remember Hope when she was working with Cleo to make the clay Landon? Her perfect idolization of a picture perfect boyfriend acted just like Josie. What the fuck is wrong? Like
and it's also crazy too.
Josie and fake Landon were on the same wavelength. Like they were on the same wavelength when they were like, obviously we're gonna like go in the kitchen, barricade the door, and I think it was Wade. Yeah, Wade was like, "What are you guys doing?" And it's like those two knew what they were doing. It's like that's a little odd, and they're both posed as Hope's love interest. Okay,
and it's crazy.
but then
It's
it turns
also
out
crazy.
he's fake.
Because in 305, like to go off the comment that's like because Josie wasn't ready, Hope went to Landon until Josie was ready. Like you literally see that in Hope's therapy box in 305. Like
80s,
she was not ready. She was not ready to take Josie's hand. She wasn't ready to escape like the therapy box there. And so she went and she turned to Landon, who was like the unhealthy relationship, who was like the thing that isn't the solution, but is the temporary solution until one of them is brave enough to actually take what they want. You know what I mean?
It literally got to the point where it had to be that Landon could no longer experience love, which, like we said before, that's actually a really cruel way to end a character, but it's also really hilarious given the context of how much Landon ruined the show. So, you know what?
Yeah, like, bitch,
Yep.
karma is so funny to me.
Karma for like 3 years, because he was such a nasty character to other characters and he never took accountability for it. And I also was just a shit friend because like why did MG apologize to Landon? But anyways, in season 1, I mean. So for Klaus, oh, we didn't really talk about Klaus. We did a little, but like here's Klaus on a very funny on the set of Toronto shooting in front in his Zoom, just saying these things like always and forever, and
I
saying
cried. I can't even call it corny because I was sobbing. Like,
I wasn't actually, I was watching it from my phone, but I was actually more listening to what was happening and reading the more up to speed live updates because other people have cable and they were telling
yeah,
like
yeah,
they were live sharing like all of these things, and here I was stuck on a 2 minute behind loop, just like, yeah, sounds great, and just taking screenshots of Klaus selling Progressive and Klaus saying you're going to find more love, that solidifies it for me right there. Her open ending in every which way, from
exactly. And then
leaving the school. Yeah.
Brett literally
Yeah.
confirmed that
What did Brett say
Hope and
exactly?
Landon were literally just puppy love. They literally,
Oh.
Brett
Oh.
literally quite said like, "Oh, this is just like a teenage love relationship," like completely retconning
Oh
everything
wow.
everything that he said about epic love. Like, that's what's crazy to me. At like the end of the day, like
Wow.
literally the only people that won were Hosies. The only
What?
people that won were Hosies.
I didn't realize he said that. I mean, I thought you like said that Brett was like, yeah, they're not serious, but like they were just puppy love.
Well, he didn't say
That's
puppy
shit.
love. He said
Or
like it was
yeah.
just like, he just said it was a teenage love.
I mean,
Like that's what he said.
because what Klaus was saying was like you're
Young
like,
love. He said
yeah,
young love.
right.
Yeah.
What Klaus was saying, you can just take from that like Hope isn't like she's a young woman, she's a young adult, but she's at the stage between like I'm just on the cusp of 18, I'm kind of entering my 20s, I'm being told I'm an adult, but I still have just left the classroom, and she just had this long-term boyfriend that everybody said was a shit like just such a cycle that she was trapped in, and he literally can't reciprocate my feelings. So, and he's
Talking
also the
about that,
ferryman of love.
that's
Yeah.
another underrated Hosie moment.
Well, what?
You don't really believe that though. You don't really believe that though because you gave up on hope like twice.
That is actually so funny. I think that when that dropped and everyone was like, wait, like that came out of nowhere
The
because
timeline was so fucking
Josie as a
hilarious.
person isn't like that.
Right.
She
Like
got
Josie
so
put it all on the
confident.
line. She was
She
so pissed. She was so pissed at that point.
And I think it makes sense. Like I would say normally it's like a little weird, but it makes sense specifically to Landon because of how the way he treated Hope. Everybody knows like the apparently the Salvatore gossip mill is crazy because everyone knows Hope's business like 10 minutes after that they broke up. She killed
People
him.
know
All
Hope's
of these.
business before Hope knows her own business, to be
And
honest.
and again, and
Oh
when
my god,
Josie,
actually,
yeah.
just to even talk about Hamden's relationship for like one more second, I think it's so funny how like Rhett will like write in all of these things where it was like, do you remember the time we watched Star Wars? Do you remember the time we watched The Matrix? And like just have never shown us anything like that.
Yeah.
Have never showed us one scene of like Hope and Landon on a genuine date, except for like the doc, and that wasn't even Landon. That was like
Oh, and
fake Landon creating that whole
they
spread.
continuously kept like they have literally no substance to their dates, that their only reference is, do you like your milkshake, babe? And
Like,
it's
oh
the
my god,
same
peanut
fucking
butter blast,
recipe.
fucking whipped cream on the bottom,
Like
beep 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 beep.
like that's
Corny.
kind of the epitome of their love right now, just listing off, like rattling off ingredients that should theoretically make a great milkshake or make a great romance, but it just comes off too sweet and too frothy, you throw it out. Wow, what a
Oh my god,
metaphor.
underrated Robin and Izzy moment. An IZ moment is when they made the peanut butter blast with whipped cream on the bottom during their live when they met.
I
Underrated
wasn't there
moment.
for that
Maybe
day.
that was fucking fun. I was there. I watched that live. Like they were entertaining. Like okay, the thing with Hosie's, Handens, and Hizzies, it's like we really all truly hate each other to the core. But like I'm not so like high and mighty to admit like okay like it's entertaining, like our rivalries are like entertaining, like some of these people just like take it way too serious and I'm like no, like they genuinely like piss me off, like they really do, like but it's still funny, like it's still funny to like fuck with them, just like I'm sure that they think it's funny to like fuck with us, just like I'm sure like when Robin said hi Shelly on the Hannah podcast, I'm sure that gave her a buzz, I'm sure that gave her a rush. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just so fun. Like what I'm gonna miss about the Legacies fandom are like the moments like that, just like the fun
all of
moments.
the all of the all of the hilarious in jokes. I think I think the Riverdale fandom actually has a more hilarious time where they did that fan cam or whatever. I forget. I watched it like a while ago, where it was like all of these in jokes between each of the different shippers and just all of the characters and actors, because the actors like work so well and like they're so active on TikTok, but then like here's Legacies because they don't do anything, and every single ship and fandom we're like we don't take a joke with each other. Like it's dead serious. Like you just made fun of Josie. Let's leak your IP, shit like that. It got really fucking crazy. In Legacies, which I think is like, you know what? I'm glad that's over with. I'm glad that the TVDU can eventually just phase out. But I don't know why the fuck Brett is saying like, we'll always have more stories coming down the line. And then Julie Plex saying, yeah, if we want to have um Brett, if we want to have Kat come in and do Bonnie, um, can you guys still hear me? I feel like I have Wi-Fi connection. I don't think I can be heard.
Official goodbyes. Reed, you want to come on so that we can say our Hosie Talks goodbyes? Re-request. Okay, maybe I'll invite you to speak. I wonder if that'll work. Sorry, guys. Like, I was meaning to upgrade my Samsung. This. Oh, people are talking in my group chat about how the spaces kicked them out. Okay. Well, okay. Hello, Ree. Ree. Okay, I'll just say my goodbyes and then Ree can say her goodbyes after. Because it's not connecting, but I just wanted to say that I've truly, even though I haven't been in the Hosie fandom for the longest time, or for like even though I wasn't one of the original Hosies or anything, and even though for a while there, like I really only had like 10, like I literally only had 50 followers for like the longest time. I was really not popular. Like and I want to reiterate, like I have a life, I have a job. Like this isn't like online isn't my life, but being on like Pope Michael Slay and having this account and making all these friends and like being in my group chats, retry okay, it's disconnecting me. And like being in these group chats and like meeting all these people, like it was genuinely always such a source of joy and such like a highlight of my week, like coming to Twitter and just like having a good time and being able to theorize and talk about Hosie even if there wasn't ever any scenes. It was always I always just genuinely felt like obviously like so much frustration, um like so much frustration all the time, but also so much joy and also so much like love and so much like connection to like these people and like this community. And I think that like even though a bunch of people think that Hosies are corny and like we can be corny. I've certainly been corny. I think my corniest moment was definitely when I made that like thread that had 500 likes. Then I went on like a 10 tweet rant, like tagging all the Legacy starters, being like like all this stuff on like my high horse. Like that was definitely a very corny moment. But even though everyone calls us corny, even though we've all been made fun of, after December 16th when the entirety of Twitter like switched up on us, like genuinely like it's has always been such a fun environment and I've made so many friends. And shout out to Psych Ward Besties, the group chat, like my group chat that I've been in for a while, and shout out to Ella, who was my first ever Legacies mutual. And shout out to Georgia for writing the greatest Legacies fic of all time. We fucking love you, The Art of Losing. And just shout out to all definitely it's weird. It's weird not having them anymore. So goodbye everyone. Hosie Talks has always been so fun. I love you all. Just I'm gonna say all my catchphrases one last time. When you believe in Hosie, the blessings come in. Just wait on 3B Hosie. I truly love you all. I've always had so much fun with you guys. Good night and God bless.